rigor mortis is fast, but not when votes needed. He's starting to rot. The flies are stampeding. We don't post photos no more because his skin is blue. We can't let the news of his death get through.
I've said my goodbyes, stuck in this position. I don't need anyone, just a mortician. Our hospital bill must be right on through the roof.
We can't let the news of my death get through. They keep saying you've passed on,
Again and again and again.
then we better take another proof of life.
So reattach my chin.
Every interview's a puppet show. String you up and off we go. Smile for cameras, wave hello. Please don't let an arm let go.
Lift my eyelids, fluff my hair. Spray cologne to mask the air. If I slump, just prop the chair. Nobody can know.
I can't imagine life with a third Trump term.
And I can't be forever posed like a taxiderm.
I'm counting the days till they let me bury you.
But we can't let the news of my death get through.
Oh, boy.
I really hate that sad loser, Mr. Newberger.
Who, me?
All right. So we
Oh.
want to give a shout out to Mr. Newberger of AI Funnies. Please subscribe and support his channel. He has been under attack. You can subscribe
I did
YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Yeah, give him some support, give him some love. And that is going to bring us to our first topic, which we're going to get into, which is AI policing. I think it's an interesting conversation. A couple of announcements before we get started, and then we are going to talk about how you and I are under the control already of artificial intelligence. How bad is it going to get? You tell me. But that is the thing I'm concerned about. Before we get started, though, we have a couple of quick announcements. We want to give a shout out to our very own floor director, Joel Tilson. As you can see, he's kindly put up the cue cards to help make things run smoothly, but we will be taking questions from you as well. We also want to announce that our dear friend and co-host, Chuck Dransfield, will not be on the show today. As many of you know, his beloved kitty, Sasha, has crossed the Rainbow Bridge. She was 10 years old, and unfortunately, she succumbed to a pretty aggressive illness. We're pretty sure she had a lymphoma, which unfortunately Siamese are vulnerable to that, and it can take you out literally in a couple of weeks. From the time they show symptoms, it can just be boom. And unfortunately, that's what happened. By the time Sasha had gotten to the she was already in organ failure. I mean, she was playing 1 minute and then she was out. So, you know, understandably, Chuck is very upset. And so, he was a very good cat owner. He didn't abuse his cat. It's nothing that the cat ate gourmet, high quality cat food, lived in a beautiful home, and was dearly loved. It's just these things happen, particularly when you're dealing with a breed like Siamese. They're very vulnerable to all kinds of things. I love that breed. Yeah, we got to send our love to Chuck, and of course you have his email, so you can send him to as well. But I think everybody has his email. DransfieldChuck@gmail.com if you want to send him a note. Yeah, so that is what is going on there. Yeah, so we also want to announce that there is a winner for the July Book of the Month Club, and that goes to Diana Reimer. She was selected for our Book of the Month. And so if you would like to be part of our Book of the Month Club, you can join anytime. She'll be in our studios, I believe, the second month of August. We are a little bit behind. The second week of August. What did I say? Second, second week of August. Sorry. And so Diana Reimer, From Abuse to Enlightenment, Transforming My Childhood Trauma into Use. I love the fact that she's using Buddhist imagery as well, because I'm really interested in Buddhism myself. Well, let's go ahead and do the honors and start saying hi to people as they find their way into the stream. Joel, would you do the honors of reading the notes from people? Can you?
Okay, we'll say hi to Brenda Rakesaw.
Hi, Brenda.
Say it's hot in Memphis today.
Oh dear! Wow.
It was hot here over the weekend in Cheyenne.
Mm-hmm.
We had the Cheyenne Frontier Days, and it was quite successful. We had a lot of people here in town.
Oh, good. Says she's staying well. Good for that.
And then Colleen Rigger, 9538. Hello, Whimsy and Chuck and Joel and fellow chatters.
Mm-hmm. Always good to see you.
And sending love to Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
This is from Gigi Pardo Lord, 2372.
Hi, Gigi.
Hello, Whimsy, Chuck, and everyone. Hello.
Hello to you as well.
And then Deb dash P9J. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. And then Diane Reimer.
Congratulations. She's our author of the month. She's the winner of the July selection. Yeah, congratulations. Yeah.
And then Tarot by Sharona.
Hi, Tarot.
Love that name. 262. Hello, everyone.
We should collaborate. Those of you who have channels, we should think about collaborating. I need to do more collaboration. Don't you?
Love to have you.
I'm too isolated sometimes, I think, and I should be out there more. I used to have social anxiety. I don't as much anymore. Maybe I should give it a try again.
Donna Williams C8J. Hello, everyone. Will Rubio and Zelensky work out a deal concerning Iran and Ukraine before the big bomb is dropped?
Wow, where this is the question, and this is the thing that has come up. Are we in World War III right now? I would say yes, but I would liken it to a volcano that's about to erupt, and now seismologists and experts, they are finding ways to reduce the pressure of the volcano, because when a mega volcano goes off, it can cause a nuclear winter, and then everything dies, right? So
it did during Krakatoa in the 1880s.
Right. So
the whole summer was gone in 1883.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So that is what we should look at these military actions as. Seismology, they're talking about drilling holes in Mount Rushmore, other places where they're concerned it could become so that the pressure, we can relieve some of the pressure, so we're not looking at a mega disaster in the future. So they're talking about
like Yellowstone.
Yeah, Yellowstone. Yeah, so they're talking about a seismologist and experts that we can go in and we can create pressure valves to release some of this pressure. And I think, and the engineers, etc. This is one of the things that.
Look what Iceland has done with their volcanoes. They've actually used the heat that comes from the volcanic underground they have. Yeah. They use that to heat up their homes, and they also use it to
bake lava bread.
Right. And swimming pools. They have swimming pools that are heated.
Yeah, I would like to go back to Iceland. I enjoyed it very, very much.
I was there for a year.
Oh, lucky you. God, yeah. It's a really nice place.
It is.
Yeah. So, when I looked at it energetically, it was like you had this megaton volcano that was about to blow. It was getting worse and worse and worse with Iran. Hezbollah was encroaching closer and was taking more and more of Lebanon. You had them building up, and you had Israel keep going into Gaza, keep going in, and innocent people in Gaza were being killed, right?
All the time.
So, and more pressure would build, and then they would have another conflict. Then a series of events took place that were disastrous on top of all of that. And one of the disastrous things that led up to October 7th that people don't want to talk about was when President Trump came up with the ingenious idea of pulling U.S. troops out of Lebanon and North Syria.
Crazy.
So we had two horrible things happening at the same time. One was the Obama-Iran deal, which basically said, we'll give you a bunch of money and you won't build nukes. Well, of course, they continued to do nukes research, and they continued to build up Hezbollah, and they continued to murder all kinds of people, including Americans, and they continued to sponsor terrorism, which is why you have to take your shoes off at the airport. So we were, so every time we buy oil, and countries that sponsor terror
Get you rich.
Which is one of the reasons why we wanted to get off oil, but also building Wahhabi Islamic mosque all over the world to indoctrinate another generation into these death cults.
Right.
And Saudi Arabia realized that they had a problem and that was when MBS's father moved to take control of the Wahhabis, threw them in jail, basically, in Saudi Arabia, and is now moving the way of UAE to normalize relations with Israel and get away from the crazy. But Iran has not done that.
And plus, Trump fired a bunch of good generals and admirals on the staff that were giving the information about not closing the bases that you were talking about, northern Syria and all that.
Right. So basically, that was what happened. We had Hezbollah getting more funding. We had Hamas get Islamic Brotherhood, the Houthi, the Somali pirates that were also allies of the Houthi. They were all getting getting richer, and it was a powder keg that eventually October 7th. You can't have it both ways. You can't be an American.
Something has to give.
Yeah, you can't say I want cheap oil, but I don't want to protect the trade routes.
Well, sooner or later, NATO's going to have to get involved in whether they like it or not.
I think it's great. You don't want to give aid to Israel for military support. I get it. So you have to get on a plane now, and you need to come, and you need to take about 50,000 U.S. troops and station them in North Syria and Lebanon, and then you'll get what you want. You'll get your cheap oil, and you won't have to have Israel do your shit work for you. And I think that's great. Let's start sending U.S. troops back to North Syria and Lebanon, and then they can die in terrorist attack. So the point is that it never ends. And it is this volcano that is erupting. And so what the experts agreed to was what came to be known as the 5 phases. And one of those was when you go through war games, and I've played out war games, I contacted the Nobel Prize winner who created game theory. I contacted him and gave him a copy of the Oasis protocol because I wanted his opinion about it. He thought I was very naive, by the way. But when they went through a series of war games, it always ended the same way, which was that we could be up Schitt's Creek without a paddle if Iran was holding nuclear weapons over our heads.
Did you hear?
It's a very dangerous situation.
Did you hear what they were saying today?
What?
They said that if the United States pulls out of that area, that Israel will have no choice but to use an atomic weapon on Iran.
Who said that?
That's what they were talking about today.
Yeah, and that would be no different than the United States in World War II when they were dealing with extremist suicide bombers that were bombing U.S. service people. They were bombing the ships. My father was on a ship that got bombed by a kamikaze.
Kamikaze. Yeah,
and it was never, and they weren't going to, it wasn't going to end. Even if they were marching on Berlin and to end the bombing of Dresden, nothing was going to cause the Japanese because they had dedicated themselves as true believers. They were going to die. Harikari. They were going to kamikaze. They were going down.
Samurai.
Yeah, they were that samurai spirit. It's interesting that we showed that samurai filmette the other day, but
it's true.
So I think we're trying to keep that from happening. And the only way to keep that from happening is eventually you're going to have to remove Iranian leadership.
No choice.
This is going to further isolate Qatar. Qatar's not going to have any allies in the Middle East, because if everybody joins now Syria wants to join the Abraham Accords. That came out today.
That's interesting.
He doesn't want to be attacked because he sees what's happening in Lebanon. They're going to come for me next. The Greater Israel Project. Well, we're going to have to take more land because clearly you can't handle it. So we're going to take Ashkelon, and you're going to go live in Gaza for a while, right? So yeah. This idea that if you are a threat to the state must survive. The state of the mentality is this: the state must survive, and you are an existential threat to the survival of the state. The state of Israel will and must survive, and anything that is an existential threat to the state of this organism that is the state of Israel, that is a threat, is going to be removed. Just as that's true for the United States. It is a living organism, right? The United States, and there are people, they are going to do whatever. If you are trying to take out or sabotage the United States, American intelligence, we're going to do whatever we have to do so that the state survives. And so whether it means deporting 700,000 people out of the country, this is what happened in Pakistan when they deported close to 1 million people out of Pakistan that were fighting. They wanted to take over the government. They supported the Taliban. So Pakistan's response was, great, then you can go live with them, and kicked out, sent them all to Afghanistan. But you didn't have this big uproar from the entire world when it happened, the way you did with Israel. But Israel made, in their opinion, a security issue. The war of independence, Israel's war of independence, when all these Arab countries came to invade, and you had all these people inside of Israel that were allies to Egypt, and they were like a part of it. Israel's decision when they moved 2,000 people out of Ashkelon, for example, sent everybody to Gaza. You sent us to no, you did this to yourself when you became Nazis and joined and said you supported Adolf Hitler. So there has to be some personal responsibility also.
Well, the thing is, Whimsy, is that
war is hell.
Well, that's what they chose, and then what the other Arab states are not going to take them. That's what's sad.
Well, the Arab states have to take responsibility because Saudi Arabia paid for the terrorism for years. They paid for those suicide bombers. Oh, we Saudis, we did so much to help the Palestinian people. Yes, by arming them to the teeth and strapping bombs to their kids and sending them off to die in some holy war, just the way Iran sent 12-year-olds to die in the Iraq war. All these people who are, by definition, malignant narcissists who think they speak for God, and they're going to go and send someone to die, often a child, onward Christian soldiers, these innocent children that are going to go die for the cause. And I think that it's disappointing me to see these so-called experts on MSNBC, and they are experts. They're considered experts. They are members of this is Peace and Strategic Middle Eastern Studies. He's been working there for 20 years. I hate to sound cynical, but I find myself quoting Elon Musk when Elon Musk was looking for a rebuild. You've been with the Strategic Studies of Peace for, okay. And you get paid how much? Mm-hmm. And they get paid how much? Mm-hmm. How many peace? There's 35,000 separate peace organizations working on. Okay. And who here has achieved it? And how much money are you making? And what's going to happen if I achieve it? You're not going to have a job. You're not going to have a job. You're not going to have it. So you have a vested interest in keeping this going.
Of course.
So that was an interesting view. Oh, if your whole career is Middle Eastern peace and strategic studies, and you built your whole career and you're teaching at the university and you've built a multi-million-dollar institute, it's all about, let's sit around and let's talk about peace. But you haven't rebuilt anything. You haven't built Gaza. You haven't built kibbutzes in the Negev, which was one of my proposals, was let's just put everybody in a kibbutz. You either want to integrate or you don't. It can be Palestinians and Jews. Either stop fucking arguing and let's build a country. Let's get together and build the kibbutzes. This is what Mamdani likes. Mamdani likes kibbutzes, right? He's a democratic socialist.
Yeah.
Do you want solution, or do you want to continue to just talk about it and fight and argue? And my proposal was, let's just start building kibbutzes. If you're a nonviolent person and you want some land, it's a great way to get BLM land. Is just go in and start. It's not, nobody's using this land, particularly the border between Israel and Gaza. It's no man's land because it was a security area. Let's grow some flowers and put some kibbutzes there, right?
Well,
if the people pass security, of course, there's going to be security problems initially.
It's going to be hard.
There were security problems when we set up Osaka.
Right. Well, just like in World War II when they had deprogrammed the Nazis.
Yeah, exactly. Osaka. You know what they did? They were trying to keep people from committing suicide. They used to have watchers, members of Japanese people's family. Watch him, because everybody was running off to commit suicide.
Right.
So I think we have a short. Did you heard about this, right?
Yeah. I read it.
Can you imagine that you're a granddaughter and you've got to watch your grandfather 24/7 because he's that committed to suicide? So
their program.
So I think we have to remember, I think we've forgotten the past of other Marshall plans, if it were me and I had that job, I would never be able to forgive myself if my grandfather took his life when I wasn't watching or something.
George Marshall's Marshall Plan was genius, pure genius. And it turned the world away from communism into capitalism. And look how successful Europe is today because of it.
Yeah, I mean, that was the idea of the Oasis One, was that it would be profitable and that they would have their own land, that you want an olive farm in Gaza. Great, we can make that happen. We are a better deal than Hamas. We are a better deal than Iran. Go with the peace activists.
Right.
I'm neutral. I want to just be neutral. I don't want to take either side. I just want to be an oasis zone. We can agree to disagree, but let's live together, work it out. Babies. But we have to be nonviolent. We have to, and I think we can do it. And I think that the Oasis will grow, and I think it will collapse. I think when you give people something to live for, terrorism collapses. I'm really naive that way, but I believe because it worked in Japan, and I think it will work in Gaza.
Gaza was just closed off to everybody, and all you had was the terrorists, driving everybody crazy with their ideology.
Yeah, so going back to the question, I just think that there's only one way out of this. Otherwise, it'll go on and on and on and on, and that is that those nations that state-sponsored terrorism, like Iran, they can't exist anymore. And people well, what about Israel? You're not taking your shoes off at the airport because of Israel. A bunch of people didn't get blown up in Lochmere, Scotland, a Pan Am flight, whatever, because of Israel, right? It was state-sponsored terrorists. 1,200 people were not gunned down, women tied to trees and raped. 250 people drug into the pits of hell because of Israel. That's just not reality. So we have to acknowledge that what terrorism is and who is sponsoring it. I really hope UAE succeeds, because I know the UAE has a lot of economic problems right now. And I really hope the UAE succeeds, because moderation is what the Middle East needs right now. And I'm very concerned about the fact that Israel is moving towards extremism. And I really hope that moderates get control of the Knesset, because Netanyahu's done a lot of serious damage. So I'm not happy with him either, trust me.
What's it look like for the October elections anyway?
You know what? I haven't checked, but I know that people want change, and they're tired of the religious extremist and this idea that some Jewish people are better than others. We're better than you are, so we don't have to serve in the army. We'll just pray for you. We're superior. We're better Jews than you. Like the whole narcissist, because we keep rabbinical Judaism. Well, 90% of Jews do not keep rabbinical. We don't believe that something that was written during the Iron Age we don't want to go back to the Iron Age, most Jewish people. We want to go forward. We want to look at the heart and soul of Jewish ethics, to be a good person. What is hateful to you, do not do to another. We want to be inclusive. We want to create a secular state that's inclusive. That was the dream, right?
Right.
And I think most Israelis were just kind of fed up with Netanyahu, and he's done nothing to make Israel safer. In fact, quite the opposite. I think October 7th proved that he and his hostile, belligerent attitude has actually put Israel at greater risk, and has made Israel a pariah of the rest of the world. He needs to go.
Well,
All right, go ahead.
The loss of Lindsey Graham hurt Trump.
Well, he's lost a major ally in the Senate, and I think that has to be acknowledged. What do you feel? How do you feel about that?
It's going to hurt him in the long run. Because I think Lindsey was kind of keeping him on the level on everything.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go ahead. We're going to do the Empath prayer, and then we will blitz away. Would you like to do that?
Sure.
Would that work for you? Great. And and if you would like to receive a healing at this time, please let Joel and myself know, and then we will
do our best.
Do our best to include you in our prayers.
And Chuck too.
And Chuck, we're going to also send special prayers to Chuck as he mourns the loss of his kitty, Sasha.
Sweet kitty.
Sasha Dransfield has crossed the Rainbow Bridge. Yes, she was 10 years old. Appears that she died from a lymphoma in the GI. So, yes. So, yes, we thought that it would be a good idea if Chuck could take a couple days off.
Sure.
Yeah. I can't believe he came and worked on Thursday. He talk about a trooper, man. The show must go on. He came out and performed.
He was on last night too.
Yeah, I want him to go do what he needs to do to take care of himself. That's an order from your boss. I'll see you when you're ready to come back. All right, let's come together and bring in the Empath prayer. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say Amen. Yeah. For those people who are requesting healings today, we come together at this time and we pray. We pray that you and those you love receive a perfect healing in mind, body, and in spirit. And together again collectively, we say Amen, Amen, Amen.
Amen.
May all souls be healed.
May all souls be healed.
Did I say that everyone should receive a healing? Did I do that?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I was like zoning out. Okay. The loss of Lindsey Graham. I think we've talked about that. I mean, did you see the funeral at all? Did you see anything?
I saw little glimpses of it.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Yeah. I think it's a problem. Iran-backed Houthis. Yeah, exactly. Attacking Saudi oil tankers. I really honestly think, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you've got quite an education under your belt, former military, but I think Saudi is genuinely scared out of their bejeebies.
They are, and I wouldn't be surprised if we'll deploy forces into that area, and plus in Saudi Arabia. I think we're going to have at least 50 to 100,000 troops there.
Right, and it feels to me like MBS is saying, Mohammed bin Salman, Prince, I will sign anything. I will join the Abraham Accord. I will join the Abraham Accords. It's almost like they're holding this. Well, I want this, this, and this in order to join the Abraham Accords. And he was very pompous. And now that he's getting attacked, help me. They're attacking me. They're bombing me. What are you going to do for us? What are you going to do for me, baby, MBS? What you going to do for Dr. Whimsy?
Shell out some money.
I wrote you a letter, and I spoke to one of your people who told me that you were deeply moved by the Oasis One. He said you were moved. That's a direct quote from from your guy. So my question would be to Mr. MBS. My question to you would be is, what are you willing to do in order to come over to our side? Because if he wants all this help from the USA in order to get out of this situation, then he has to make a firm commitment to the West. He can't go back and forth like this. You know what I'm saying? I feel very good about the fact that he's been talking to Zelensky, because we're moving in the right direction, which means that only means that the West is going to be getting stronger. What do you think, Joel?
I think the tide right now is against Putin. Is isolated, and he's getting more and more isolated each day with all the craziness that's going on in Russia.
Right, and I put this article up because this was it was the expose that I did. It was a research article I did for the Times of Israel. Hello, check out Times of Israel. This is me, peace advocate for Times of Israel. This is my real job, right? So was real evidence suggesting that Putin was not only aware of the massacre that Iran was planning via their proxy Hamas, but he was one of the people that helped orchestrate it, and that he was infuriated and angry about Zelensky's relationship with Bibi in the state of Israel. And this was retaliatory, and that was why he participated. He wanted to inflict as much damage as possible on Israel. You know, he wanted a pogrom, and he got his birthday. His birthday, by the way, is October 7th. Any feelings about that?
Yeah, that's quite a coincidence, isn't it?
Happy birthday, Putin. You got your pogrom.
Putin.
This is something that people may not know about, but the Tsars of Russia, on their birthdays, the Cossacks, the soldiers, would go into Jewish ghettos, Jewish neighborhoods, and they would rape women. They would murder people, chop and slaughter them. And they would bring the heads back as to give a present to the Tsar or a present to the Church of Russia.
Sick.
So this was kind of like, and they did that. They scalped the Jews when they were committing genocide against Israel. When Gaza was committing genocide against Israel, which is the real story, but they kind of twisted the facts.
Well,
They kind of forgot about that and called for the genocide and extermination of the Jews, and they still are, by the way. They were actually playing soccer with the heads of Jewish babies and Jewish people whose heads they had chopped off. They chopped off people's heads in front of their kids and laughed about it. So that's genocide. But what I think people have to understand is they have to understand that Putin was all for it, and Putin thought it was great. He was never a friend of Israel. I think that on October 7th we saw who Putin really was.
Yeah, and it's a tide that's been going on for 400 years in Russia's history. If you read it, they've been terrorizing Europe for over 400 years, and it continues today.
Well,
they sent out what do you call it, assassination squads throughout the world to go after Putin's enemies.
That's insane.
Yeah. They've been doing. There's documentation on it. He's been doing it ever since he got in.
Do you know that the British, during the time of Queen Victoria, referred to the Romanovs as the ugly red-headed stepchildren?
Yes.
So think about that. Oh, they're the ugly red-headed stepchild. Right, those ugly redheads, those ugly. Well, they weren't very pretty. Well, I mean, I'm not trying to make. He was not a very attractive man.
King George, his cousin, the last Tsar that got executed along with his family.
Right.
They had a chance to bring him back to England to let him. They were trying to get their forces in there to take him out of the country before they got arrested. And King George said no.
That's what I mean. So the fact that they desperately wanted to be recognized by the West. I think the history of Russia, they've always we can dance the ballet better than the French, right? You're a bunch of barbarians. You eat with your hands, right? Forks and knives, right? the pictures of the old czars, you know, grabbing or tearing chicken apart and eating it with his bare or pieces of meat, right? This was, the French were like appalled, right? So, but they very much wanted to be part of French society, and they started hiring French tutors, right? All the Tsar and all of her children, they're all going to they started marrying in with the Germans, marrying in with to try and stop this reputation of being the redheaded stepchild of Europe, because they never fit in. The Bolshoi ballet, it was all an attempt to be validated. So I felt reading that history and what happened with them trying to get in with the British royal family. They retaliated with loans to the royal family that could not be paid back, that was linked back to Putin. That's a major investigation into the royals that's been covered up. We can talk about that another time, but it just leads me to think that Russia has a real chip on their shoulder.
They do.
You know?
They don't like the West, period.
Because the West didn't love them. We didn't want them. They're barbarians. Go back to Siberia with your dirty hands and your vodka. We'll take the vodka and the caviar, but everything else, go. I think they don't belong here. So yes, there is a little bit of that. The Houthis, well, the Houthis are broke as hell, but they do get some aid from Iran, and it goes back to the 5 phases. If Iran isn't there to support the Houthis get starved out. And the same is also true for who's going to trade with Afghanistan.
Nobody.
Is anybody trading with them? They're still selling opium. Is there anything else that they're trading? Some metal, right?
Certain things, but not very much.
Textiles.
Probably.
They're famous for their textiles. Okay. So that would be like wool from sheep, carpets, you know, that sort of thing.
Right.
But and mountain herbs and opium. Those are their main exports to, opium to, various different medical facilities. But it's cost prohibitive now because people can just make it in the lab. Fentanyl is made in the lab. So they're kind of losing their market too.
They are.
That was how Putin made his money, was wheeling and dealing.
In the open.
They were bringing heroin into West Germany. Yeah. Go ahead.
Russia and China are supplying Iran with weapons and intelligence to attack U.S. bases in the Middle East. How will Trump react to that?
Isn't it weird to have you reading your own cue cards? This is
Yes.
the first time I've ever seen a floor director reading their own cue cards. It's kind of fun.
First time for everything, I
It's
guess.
the first time. All right. Russia and China supplying Iran with weapons. Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Ooh, war. I'm seeing war over that. You've got a Knight of Wands, which is war over this situation. That's bad news.
It's coming. It's just a matter of
The
when.
House of Opposition is money and jobs. Americans don't want this war, and they're running out of money, and U.S. is running out of defense equipment too. They're concerned about the fact that our Patriot missile defense, our defense systems, hopes and fears, who's going to win. What the universe wants people to understand is that think about times in your life when maybe you have been under the thumb or control of abusive boss or an abusive partner, and your whole life became incredibly dark and depressing. And then you finally got away from that person. And do you remember how happy you were? Do you remember how your life just kind of opened up and you thought, oh my God, when I lived in that house, I didn't know what freedom was. Or when I had that job, I didn't know what freedom was. Or when I had that commanding officer, I didn't know what freedom, like we've all experienced an abusive narcissist in some capacity, right?
Yeah.
So what they're saying is when Iran is gone, there will be a lot of wealth that becomes available. The final outcome was Empress, because the trade route.
Everything's going
I'm
to start
sorry,
flowing again.
I feel like a broken record because I keep saying the same
Everything will
things over and
start
over again,
flowing
but
again.
people weren't listening, and now here we are. It all goes down to the trade. What do they want? They want control of 2 trade routes that are very, very important. They want the straits, and they also want the Suez Canal.
Yep.
So the Houthis are attacking a lot too, you know, for love of God and country, right? That's the purpose
Right.
of a pirate. A pirate is doing the will of God and country. He feels, they feels justified, right? Everything I do is justified. So we have this war. We have concerns about money, hopes and fears, who will win the power, and the final outcome is an opening empress. I just feel like everything gets better with when this horrible regime in Iran comes to an end.
And Putin too.
Yeah. My biggest fear in the Middle East is that Israel is becoming as crazy as Saudi Arabia. So that's also, I'm plenty worried as an Israeli, because the only true democracy in the Middle East is Israel. And if we lose democracy in Israel, then there will be no real democracy in the entire Middle East. And so it's very scary, actually. As an Israeli, I feel that way. All right, Joel Tilson. Will U.S. forces invade both Yemen and Iran? What would be the point of invading Yemen? They're so broke. I mean, don't you think we can handle them without a ground invasion? What do you think?
Well, my thinking is that I think the Arab states are going to form a coalition and go after
the Abraham
Yemen.
Accords is forming. Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be a coalition of forces along with U.S. forces to combine together and attack all of these groups that are raising hell in the Middle East right now.
Yeah, exactly. So I wonder if Hezbollah, I think Hezbollah is on thin ice. Who's going to fund them? Wealthy sheiks, but not many else. All right. Let's see if U.S. forces, I think Iran, absolutely. We're going to have to go into Iran. There's no way to get around it.
No way around.
Armistice. Three of Cups is the armistice card. Dancing in the streets. Armistice day. Armistice. So we're going to win the war. The other is confused. Lunacy. So the other thought that, they were howling at the moon. They were delusional.
Yeah.
We are dancing the victory dance of the armistice. Hopes and fears, how much aid or how much to invest. I think it's a good investment to invest in the Middle East. I think ultimately the money will come back to the U.S. as an investment, but you have a Six of Pentacles moving in. What do you think Congress is going to do about this war?
They're going to continue to fund it.
We've got to explain to Americans why it's happening.
If they explain like we've been doing, everybody will understand. But right now, you don't hear nothing.
People keep thinking it's Trump's war and that he got caught. I don't think people realize.
This was forced on us. I hate to say it, but it was forced on us.
But the point is how many years have they been prepping this? They sewed tags into people's clothing, and it was every single IRGC member. The tailors they hired were Jewish tailors to sew their uniforms, and every guy's uniform was tagged. So Mossad knew, Joe's getting in his car. Bob is going to a pizzeria. Do you know how many? They had people established inside of who uses beepers, planting bombs inside of beepers. And then they had people who work for Mossad infiltrated inside the high ranks of Hezbollah. And then as Hezbollah gave an order, take these beepers.
Dang. That
then exploded as bombs and took out those people. So I just don't. So when people tell you it happened overnight, or that it was willy-nilly, or we didn't know what was going on, or that it's those damn Israelis, they've convinced you. No, we are an intelligent country. We have the Pentagon, MI6. There were intelligent people that had been infiltrating for it was planned for many, many years. Because the data always came back the same way. If we don't take these lunatics out, it's only going to get worse. Obama tried. Even Obama would have to accept the fact that there's only one way out of this.
Nixon said, after he got out years later, he said with think it was either Barbara Wallers or one of his newsmen or whatever. Anyway, he was saying that the Shah would have been in power if he would have been it. He would have kept, Nixon would have kept the Shah in power.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's good.
He would have.
Yeah, I mean, Nixon was pretty good on foreign policy. I think that most people say that he was great on foreign policy. It looks to me like we go in with business, and I just feel so strongly when I go into this energy, the fear of Saudi Arabia. You can't leave us. You can't piss these psychopaths off, and you're leaving. You left my door open and you punched him in the face, and you did the same thing to us in North Syria and Lebanon. What the hell are you doing? You're pulling back. You cannot piss these people off and then leave. That's how Hezbollah wound up in the position they're in, because we pulled out of Lebanon and North Syria. And so Hezbollah moved in. But you have this business aspect moving in. The House of Opposition is confused. And look at that, 2 of Swords. Refuses to take any risk. Learn here, la 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 la. You will not penetrate our belief system. Fine, then you have to leave the earth. Better luck in the next incarnation. You know, like I mean, the House of Opposition is a 2 of Swords. La 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 la. Well, you know, my work here is done. You know, hopes and fears, service, assistance, 6 of Pentacles, the money and foolish behavior, and the courts coming in, justice, and 7 of Wands. You know, the truth of the matter is, Trump is, by the way, I see Trump alone, isolated, in the White House, completely alienated from Congress and the Senate. And I see scathing rebukes of him. But the truth of the matter is, if a Democrat comes, they don't want Vance. The people that have invested in this war with Vance saying, well, I don't think this war was, Vance is an idiot. You don't think the war was justified? So what's your solution? Oh, well, we'll just do what? They're building nuclear weapons, and they're going to bomb Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Israel, and they're looking at attacking Europe, because they're working on long range and medium, and eventually they're going to attack U.S. interest bases, etc. and other. But you're okay with that because you don't like war. Nobody likes war. I mean, I think the other thing is that if we hadn't gone in and taken out a lot of those missiles, Iran had the power to fire on parts of Europe.
They could have hit Paris. That's how long they had the long range missiles.
That's right. And they were also firing at U.S. bases stationed in Europe and the Middle East. So I think that people don't understand that either. So
which they intercepted today, by the way. They intercepted a bunch of missiles
that were headed where?
To the U.S. bases in the Gulf states.
Yeah.
Will Russia's lack of weapons force them to the peace table?
What do you think?
Eventually, right now, Iran tried to send weapons by ship to Russia, and they've been hitting them. Ukraine's drones have been wiping them out. Same thing with his oil tank, Russia's oil tankers, the Shadow Fleet. They've sunk over 200 already.
According to the Akashic records, Zelensky does not need them to go into peace negotiations at this point because there's enough confidence that they can march on Moscow if they want to. He doesn't need a peace deal right now. 2 of Pentacles back and forth. He's the con man who's cornered, who's holding his cards, and all he has is, a pair of deuces. So there's this 2 of Pentacles is a flim-flam man. He's, he's juggling the walnut. Yes. Yeah. What do you want? Yeah. 2 of Swords again. Takes no responsibility. You can't negotiate with people like this. No. Also, this is another aspect that I would be concerned about. Would be the Queen of Cups. She lives in a dream world.
He definitely is in a dream world. That's for sure.
In the house of Zelensky, 5 of Swords. Screw you. I don't need your freaking crap. Take the sword away. Get the hell out of my country. So, So that tells me, just looking at this positioning, that Zelensky feels the wind under his back, and he doesn't really give a damn what you've got. Well, I want to talk now. Give me your freaking sword and get the hell out of my home. So I think he's screwed. I think that at this point, with this type of juxtaposition, justice is right over Putin. Damn.
Yeah. And Crimea is basically lost right now. They're lost.
Zelensky won.
The Donbass is what they're fighting over now.
Well, the Donbass is going to be an Abraham Accord oasis. They've already announced it. I mean, like, I haven't announced it's going to be at the Abraham Accords, but I think it's pretty obvious to see who's waltzing with who. Who's waltzing cheek to cheek right now? You know who's waltzing cheek to cheek. 2 new members of the AA. And who are those 2 members of the AA? Are going to be Ukraine and Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And to me, it's obvious, but I don't know if that's because I've had my head in the books for the last 5 years working on this, just my own research when I was doing my PhD. I don't know if it's, and to me, it just seems obvious because of the work I've been doing. But I mean, I think it's obvious to you too, isn't it?
Absolutely. And plus, Ukraine is drone capital to the world right now. Their technology is beyond the United States right now, as far as drones. They have the corner on the market right now, and they're working with us, to improve our drones too, cheaply.
Awesome, I love it.
U.S. military forces successfully intercepted Iranian missiles today in the Middle East.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it will.
Well, the concern is that U.S. military is running out of interceptive devices for intercepting.
Unless they're using Ukraine's drones.
We've used up 80% of our
stockpiles.
Well, we've used up 80% of our Iron Dome.
Oh, okay.
But Israel also is developing their own Iron Dome system. Some of them are pretty crazy. They've got one that tags the drones that are coming in, and then burrows a laser into it and blows it up.
Oh, like a microwave laser or something.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, let's take a look at this. I'm curious. You know, it's interesting to see this reaction because they're saying they're confused. They thought God was going to save them. This is like showing me religious image. Look at this. We're confused. We don't understand. Where's God? And then it says many dead. I'm hearing many dead come. Look at that.
Crazy.
What? Why are there bombs? But we're the true keepers of the true religion. We don't understand. And then you have this many dead come. The other thing is that you have this offer of peace, but I feel, because I know where we're headed, that Trump doesn't care. He got the memo when he's awake, when he's awake enough to understand. And it's like, well, we want to talk peace. Well, I don't care whether you want to talk peace or not. We're taking this straight, honey.
Well, like what Lindsey Graham said before he died. He said that Trump loves blowing up things.
Trump.
I thought that was funny.
That's scary.
Iran rejected a proposal from Oman that gives Iran fees for passage through the Strait of Hormuz, which they rejected today. Yeah, they rejected that.
So what is that? It goes back to what we had said about the Strait of Hormuz. Is there any other way? Look, like I put this through War Games. You saw my 3 a.m. messages to IDF, so my feeling is I'm not saying I influenced the IDF at all.
No.
What I'm saying is that my data matches what happened because their experts came to the same conclusions. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's what I can say and be politically correct.
Sure. It's true.
And let's just see how this plays itself out in the coming years.
It's going to be
No,
interesting.
But no, I think the reason why I got the 5 phases because what the data was the data. And it's like, oh, well, that's the data. So that's probably what's going to happen. And clearly that was what happened. But the computer didn't say, put Palvi in. The computer didn't say who was going to come in. It just said, this leadership in Iran has to be taken down.
It's got to go.
And it didn't say we had to march on Moscow. It just said Putin, and it didn't blame everybody in the Duma, or it just said Putin needs to be removed. And I thought that was really interesting how the computer isolated key things and didn't say, yeah, march on. It wasn't, in plain words, like the computer wasn't being bombastic or anything. Except, well, when you think about it, Iranian leadership, I loved Trump's response to the 5 phases. Did you hear what he said to the 5 phases?
What did he say?
He said, well, I did that. I took out Iranian leadership. And then they put up some new leaders. And we took out them too. Like, I'm just following protocol. I thought that was pretty funny because it's like a 3-year-old. Like, well, we took out Iranian leadership. Phase 5.
It's almost like whack-a-mole.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, Ukraine is destroying Russia's oil tanker shadow fleet and Iranian weapon ships heading to Russia. Well, over 200 ships have been sunk by Ukrainian drones in the last month.
Yeah.
And ongoing right now.
Wow. So much to talk about. Well, we could keep going, but alas, we're going to have to close because I do have a client. But unfortunately, we weren't able to do a full 1.5 hour show today. Like we said, Chuck is not able to be here. And Chuck,
we miss you, Chuck.
Yeah, we miss you, Chuck. And hopefully he'll be in a better place emotionally. We'll be able to have him back on the show Thursday because, boy, we sure do love Chuck. And
we need you.
We're with you. We're with you. And for those people who don't know, Sasha has his kitty cat died, so he's taking a little time off to grieve. Yeah, it's difficult. All right, my folks. Joel Tilson, he's an advocate for making sure you get your benefits if you are a veteran or you know someone who needs help, and you can contact Joel Tilson at please give
Joel Tilson at msn.com.
Wow, that was simple. And I'm Dr. Whimsy Anderson. I'm a naturopathic doctor and a medical intuitive and tarot reader. If you need to see me for a consult, please reach out to me at drwhimsy.com or through booking me through Booksy. All the information is below this video. We are out of here, folks.
Yes.
Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next time, everyone. Thank you so much for everything.
Love and light.
Love and light. Bye.